The 2024 offseason is just around the corner, and on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the top 5 quarterbacks that are the most likely to be the Steelers' starting quarterback week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. Before we break down today's content, make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button for me right now for breaking news coverage. If the Steelers end up getting a new quarterback this year and replacing Kenny Pickett, we're going to have you covered with a breaking news video. Of course, the Steelers need to hire a new offensive coordinator. When they hire a new OC, we're also going to have a video breaking that down. And then also in-depth coverage this offseason, breaking down everything when it comes to NFL free agency and the 2024 NFL draft. We've got 2 weekly live shows. We've got a watch party for every single Steelers game and a live show during the week. And oh yeah, it's all 100% free. So do me a favor right now, click that subscribe button and join our Steelers Talk family today. All right, so now before I get into my top 5 list of the quarterbacks that I think are the most likely to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers next season, let's discuss a little bit about what I'm looking for in a potential Kenny Pickett replacement moving forward. I want somebody that can at least compete for the job here in 2024. So maybe they don't have to be like a top 10 level guy, although you would love to have one of those guys. I think that even if you just bring in somebody to compete with Kenny Pickett and force Pickett to earn the job, I think that would be acceptable. Also, because you just don't want things to be too expensive at the quarterback position next year. You only have $7.28 million in available cap space for next season. Now, of course, you could restructure and you could cut some players to make more room, and I expect the Steelers to do that. But even if you do that, if you're picking up a $30 million, $35 million cap hit next year, it's going to make things really tough to fill the rest of the holes on this roster during the 2024 offseason, and I'm not willing to do that. And then also, I think that no matter who you bring in as the offensive coordinator, whoever you're bringing in to be the next starting quarterback has to have a skill set that fits the new offense. All right, so with that being said, let's move over here to my top 5 list, starting with number 5, which is Gardner Minshew. Now, Minshew has been the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts ever since Anthony Richardson went down with his shoulder injury. And right now, Minshew has the Colts in the AFC playoff picture. They're currently the number 7 seed as we speak here today. His completion percentage sits at 62.8% for 190 passing yards per game. He's thrown 10 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions, and his quarterback rating right now sits at 83.7. Gardner Minshew is the type of guy that's definitely not going to be a high-end starter for you, but if the Steelers are looking to bring in a solid veteran to compete with Kenny Pickett for the starting job, Minshew is definitely a solid option that's played quite a bit of football as a starter here in the NFL. Number 4 on my list, Jacoby Brissett, and this is specifically if Mike Tomlin decides to bring in somebody from the Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay tree there in the 3rd generation of the West Coast offense. Brissett with the Cleveland Browns in 2022 was as their starter there while Deshaun Watson was going through his suspension, was actually really good, guys. He had a 64% completion percentage, had 163 yards per game to 12 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 88.9. He was a very, very solid starter in that West Coast offense. If Mike Tomlin brings somebody like that in, maybe like a Darrell Bevell, the quarterback's coach from the Miami Dolphins, or a Chris Forster, the run game coordinator from the San Francisco 49ers, I think Jacoby Brissett is a good fit to compete with Kenny Pickett in that new offensive coordinator's scheme. Then we get to another solid veteran here, former Steeler as well, Joshua Dobbs, the current starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. And listen, man, on tape, I have been very, very impressed with Joshua Dobbs to this point in the season. He's somebody that has really good pocket presence, good playmaking instincts as well. I think he's got good downfield vision. And listen, he's not the best quarterback in the league by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he goes about things the right way. He's extremely intelligent, and we know that Coach Mike Tomlin here in Pittsburgh already has a ton of respect for Joshua Dobbs in the way he approaches the game. He's also showed some really good things on tape, like I said before, that playmaking instinct, that ability to get outside the pocket and make things happen, something that I really like. And then the pocket presence, the ability to move inside the pocket, find those pockets of space to get through his progressions and deliver an accurate football. And also, this one wouldn't cost Pittsburgh too much much, in my opinion. Maybe you can get him for like a $10 million one-year contract, something like that. Bring him in to compete with Kenny Pickett for the starting job and give him a second chance here in the Steel City. Now, what do you think about Joshua Dobbs? Do you think that he would be a good fit here with the Pittsburgh Steelers now that he's kind of grown up into kind of a bridge level, kind of capable starter here in the National Football League? Would you like to see him back in the black and gold? Give me a yes or a no for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, give me a yes or a no to answer today's pinned question. Some other affordable options that are going to be available on the free agency market. Of course, Mitchell Trubisky, if he ends up balling out here for the end of the 2023 season, gets the Steelers to the playoffs, then maybe you can think about bringing him back as a potential starter. But given the way that he's played throughout his career, I wouldn't necessarily count on that. But Ryan Tannehill, Tyrod Taylor, Teddy Bridgewater, and Andy Dalton are all kind of bridge-level, capable starter-type quarterbacks that you can also look at in NFL free agency if you want to bring in a solid veteran on a lower contract to compete with Kenny Pickett for the starting job in 2024. Now, why would you want to go get an affordable veteran? Number one, the Steelers can't afford to pay a Kirk Cousins a $30 million, $35 million contract. You just don't have the cap space to do it. And even if you could conjure up enough cap space, it's going to take up all of your available cap, and you're not going to be able to address the rest of the needs on your roster. Also, it provides legitimate competition for Kenny Pickett if he's still around. I still think the Steelers probably keep Kenny Pickett around on the roster. He's still on his rookie contract, and we'll talk about that later in today's show. But if you bring in a solid veteran here, it's not going to light the world on fire, but it does maybe light a fire under Kenny Pickett's ass to get things going under a new offensive coordinator. Now, coming up here, I'm going to let you guys know the top Steelers quarterback trade target. I really only see one person that I could see the Steelers trading for here during the 2024 offseason. But before I get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. If you're looking for a way to spice up your game days this NFL season, then Prize Picks is going to be perfect for you. It's a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game, and if you're wondering how that works, here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can even win up to 25 times your money on any entry. So you're currently seeing my Thursday Night Football Prize Picks entry here for when the Steelers play the New England Patriots. I got the more on Mitchell Trubisky passing yards. I think he's going to surprise some people on Thursday night. I got the more on Jaylen Warren. He's had a fantastic 2023 campaign. And then when Mitchell Trubisky was the starter last year, George Pickens was his favorite receiver. I think he gets more than the 38.5 receiving yards currently slated on the Prize Picks website. You can check it out now and get your picks in before Thursday Night Football. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right now. Get your picks in before Thursday night. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Number 2 on my list is the current starting quarterback there in the Windy City, Justin Fields. And this is the guy that I could really see Mike Tomlin really vie for and tell Omar Khan, go get this young man and get him in a Steelers uniform. So we already know that Mike Tomlin loved Justin Fields coming out of the Ohio State University there in 2021. He went to his pro day. He straight up told him, the only reason why I'm here is to watch you, my man. And if Big Ben Roethlisberger retires and doesn't come back for that 2022 campaign, then Justin Fields might be a Pittsburgh Steeler right now. So he's still on his rookie contract there in Chicago, so Pittsburgh can afford him right now and address the rest of the needs here. Center, cornerback, all these different things, inside linebacker perhaps. But he also has the high-end upside that you're looking for that could propel this team, loaded with talent. TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Cam Hayward, George Pickens. If you get Justin Fields in this building here and he ends up hitting in his 4th season in the National National Football League, you will be a Super Bowl contender as soon as next season. Now, when I look at Justin Fields on tape right now, he's got some pros and he's got some cons. Some of the pros, he's obviously got the size, man. 6'3", 227 pounds. And at that size, the rushing ability is absolutely insane. Last year, when it comes to points above replacement in terms of rushers, among all rushers, that includes running backs, Justin Fields was the most valuable rusher in the National Football League last year, and it really wasn't even close. So the value that Justin Fields brings to your team as a rusher is almost incalculable. Also, the arm talent is obviously there. He can throw from multiple arm angles. He can throw it 70 yards down the field with ease. And then also something that I really liked on his film and something that I've admired of watching him throughout his career, even going back to college, is that killer instinct. This guy has a flair for the dramatic. When the times get tough here, when it's the lights are brightest, he has that ability to play his best football, which is a trait that you really look for in a potential Super Bowl winning quarterback for the future. Now, that's not to say that Fields doesn't have his cons, because he definitely does. The drop back passing is definitely not what you want to see at this point in an NFL QB's career. If the defense knows that he has to throw it, he can get a little bit inconsistent with his decision making. He can get too aggressive. And Justin Fields, kind of the marquee of his game, kind of the key marker here, is that he loves to push the ball down the field, and he doesn't necessarily take what the defense is giving him. So he throws balls into really tight windows, leading to some opportunities for interceptions. And then the accuracy is something that's been very spotty throughout his career as well. So could Justin Fields potentially fix these issues if he's paired with the right offensive coordinator here in Pittsburgh? Sure, there's no doubt, but there's also no doubt that if you trade for Justin Fields, this is going to be an extremely risky move for the Pittsburgh Steelers that could end up getting Mike Tomlin fired in the years to come if he ends up being a complete and utter bust. If you ask, I actually went out and asked our Bears host here at Chat Sports, Harrison Graham, what it would cost for the Steelers to go and get Justin Fields. Again, Steelers GM Omar has a trading history with Ryan Poles, the Bears GM. They almost traded for Jalen Johnson at the trade deadline this year. They traded Chase Claypool to the Bears the previous trade deadline as well. So there's a relationship here. So I actually think this thing could actually get done. And Harrison told me that he thinks that the Steelers could get Justin Fields in a Steelers uniform next year for a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick. Actually, these dates are wrong. It's 2024 second-round pick and a 2025 fourth-round pick. Sorry for that mistake right there. But anyway, if you are Omar Khan, the Steelers GM, what do you think of this potential trade idea to send Justin Fields to the Steel City? Are you accepting it, or are you going to decline it? Let me know down there in the comment section. Are you accepting this trade? Type A if you're going to accept, or type D if you're going to decline. All right, now let's get to the number one quarterback on my list to potentially be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. And yes, it's Kenny Pickett. Now, is it definitely possible that they replace Pickett next year? 100%. That's why we're making this video. Kenny Pickett has not exactly been stellar through 24 starts here in the National Football League. But I think when you look at all the other options, I think the most likely option for the Steelers to be their starter next year is Kenny Pickett. And the reason for that is a couple of reasons. Number one, you look at the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're very loyal. Obviously, they believe in Kenny Pickett, and I think that they might want to give him another shot. You look at just the last 6 quarters of Kenny Pickett's game here since Matt Canada was fired. You could argue that he's played his best football of his career during those 6 quarters. So as somebody that's pro Kenny Pickett, keeping him on the team and keeping him in that starting spot might say, well, hey, once you just got rid of Matt Canada, this guy immediately started playing better. So let's pair him with the right offensive coordinator and the right offense so he can flourish in the National Football League. Also, he is still a very affordable option for the Pittsburgh Steelers, given that he's still on his rookie contract. And also, he seems to have the support of the players inside the Steelers locker room. They like him. They like his work ethic, and they like the way that he goes about his business. And that actually plays quite a bit of a role here in terms of him potentially coming back for the 2024 season as the Steelers starter. Now, don't get it twisted, guys. You guys know, if you guys have been watching the show, that I have serious reservations about Kenny Pickett and his game. There's a bevy of different things that I have concerns about moving forward in his career. But I'm just saying, given the situation that you're in, with the cap situation that you have next year, with all the different things going on where you're probably going to be drafting, it just doesn't seem likely to me that the Steelers have many options at their disposal to take advantage of here. And because of that, I think Kenny Pickett probably has the best shot to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024. If you want to see my full Kenny Pickett breakdown, the pros and the cons to his game to this point, I broke it down in detail in yesterday's video, so I'm going to put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. If you want to learn more about Kenny Pickett and what he's done well and what he hasn't done well to this point in his career, you're going to want to check out that video after you're done watching this one. All right, so what say you guys? Let me know how you're feeling about Kenny Pickett down there in the comment section. Should Pickett be the starting quarterback for the Steelers in 2024? Type S if you're going to start him, or type R if you want to replace him. So before I go, I want to talk a little bit about the rookies that are going to be available for the Steelers to potentially go get in the 2024 NFL Draft. If you're done with Pickett, I think that you might consider taking a quarterback early and then also adding one of those veterans, solid veterans like a Joshua Dobbs or a Jacoby Brissett, like we discussed earlier. So if you want to go get a quarterback early in this draft, I think Michael Penix Jr. Is a potential option. Same thing with Jaden Daniels. Those guys are going to be first-round options. You might even have to trade up to get one of those guys. But then Bo Nix, Carson Beck, J.J. McCarthy, I think those guys are on a tier lower than Daniels and Penix Jr., but very solid prospects in their own right. So if you want to go get a quarterback, these are probably the guys that are going to be within reach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, my take on this, guys, is that even if the Steelers start over with a rookie quarterback, I don't think that they're going to start, which is why I didn't have any of the rookies on my top 5 list today, because even if you draft Michael Penix Jr. and you sign Joshua Dobbs, I think they would probably start Dobbs right away, and they'd probably trade away Kenny Pickett if that was the case. So let me know, or not let me know, another thing that I want to talk about right here, some unlikely options, some names that you might have been expecting to see on today's video, but just weren't. Kyler Murray, plain and simply, his contract's just going to be too expensive, guys. A $46+ million cap hit if you trade for him. That's just not realistic for the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point. Kirk Cousins, if you sign him, it's going to be $30+ million. Steelers don't have that. Justin Herbert, the Chargers are not getting rid of Justin Herbert. They just signed him to a massive contract, so stop it with that. And then also Matthew Stafford, he might be retiring. And then also, I don't think the Rams are going to let him go, even if he keeps playing. All right, so let me know down there in the comment section, who is your guy? Let me know down there in the comment section who you want to be the starting quarterback for your Pittsburgh Steelers down there in the comment section. Is it Kyler Murray? Is it Justin Herbert? Even though those things will never, ever happen. Will it be Joshua Dobbs? Is it Kenny Pickett? Do you still believe in the kid? Let me know down there in the comment section who you want to be the starting quarterback for the Steelers at the start of the 2024 season. That'll be it for me today, my friends. Thank you so much for sticking around with me to the very end. I know it was a little bit of a longer one today, but make sure you click that subscribe button for me right now for more Steelers news and rumors coverage throughout the 2023 season and 2024 offseason.